Let's take a look at the IOMETE user space. In this session, I will guide you as a data engineer. Annotation options like LDAP, user management, data security, and audit we will cover in the upcoming sessions. I'm signed into a default domain, but as you can see, I have access to multiple domains. Each domain is fully isolated, independent space for a business unit. Domains will usually have its own CPU memory quotas, ETL pipelines, jobs, SQL files, and of course the data itself is fully isolated per domain. The main hub of IOMETE is the compute clusters. You can set up multiple compute clusters inside one single domain. It helps to keep each team's task isolated so they don't slow each other down. Within a compute cluster, we have multiple connectivity options enabled, like Python, JDBC, Aeroflight. So this will help you to easily integrate IOMETE with existing ecosystem. Let's go ahead and set up a new compute engine, and then we will use it to establish a connection from the external database tool. Let's connect to IOMETE compute cluster from external database tool. For this, I will use a JDBC connection type. I'll copy the connection string and open up my database tool. New database connection, and I will choose IOMETE. If you don't have IOMETE in that list, we have in documentation the instructions how you can add them. I'll paste the username, and for password I'll need to generate access token. I have existing, so I'll copy that password and click test connection. Okay, connection is established, and we should be able to see all our databases and catalogs available. Same way you can connect IOMETE compute from BI tools, dbt, and other integrations. Now let's switch to Jupyter Containers. For Jupyter Containers, we have dedicated session I'll attach into a video description. But for now, the Jupyter Containers is an interactive development environment for working with Jupyter files, code, and the data. It helps you to execute Python codes, visualize the results, and manage files. You can also schedule the notebooks within that Jupyter container. So if you click the Open Jupyter Lab, it should show up the familiar to Data Engineers UI. So SQL Editor is the main space for data engineers to execute SQL statements against the data. You can see you can have personal files. You can share the files with a domain, so they go under the shared folder, and you can attach the Git projects to collaborate with the team. Let me open a sample data worksheet file from the Git, and I can select the correct data catalog and the database and ensure that compute is selected. I can execute this statement. I can also set up a chart, explore different options within the chart, and in the future versions we will have dashboards. This is a workspace, and there's also Database Explorer where you can see your catalog informations, tables. You can check out the table details if needed, so you click Show Details. It will open up the table information like number of files, columns, data size. You can attach a tags, for example PII tag if there's a sensitive information, define the owners, add the documentation, maybe usage information, and check out the different iceberg options like snapshots, partitions. There's also query history. You can see past executed queries and get the results much faster. Query monitoring is basically checking which statements are currently running. You can terminate them, cancel them. You can go into details to see the different usage metrics and also check the SQL plan. In the query monitoring, you can see all the SQL statements executed against the compute clusters. You can even filter out the specific compute clusters, select the time range. And for example, I will open up one SQL statement I've executed from SQL Editor. I see it's completed. I can see different metrics like CPU time usage, total input bytes, disk spill information, which is essential, and different other metrics. I can also check out the plan, SQL plan, check different options to see if I can optimize something. Query monitoring contains all the SQL statements from SQL Editor and the different integrations like Power BI, database tools. Everything that connects to compute clusters will be displayed in query monitoring. Spark application in IOMETE shows us the actual execution of a job or pipeline. It could be scheduled or manually executed. This page gives us a list of all the executed jobs with a timeline chart at the top. You can also zoom in to inspect a specific range. So you can zoom in and inspect why your jobs are being failed at a specific time. This helps us track the resource usage, durations, and overall history of all the workloads being executed. As you can see, there's also a job template. Job template is basically predefined Spark jobs that you can configure once, and then you can schedule them at a specific time or using the cron syntax. You can trigger them manually later on. Data catalog sync applications, you can trigger them manually. Or you can use API and SDK to trigger them from external orchestration tools like Airflow or maybe Prefect. These Spark jobs are ideal for daily ETL pipelines or analytical tasks. Meanwhile, streaming jobs are continuous applications that process incoming data in a real time. They stay active, consuming and processing data from sources like Kafka until manually stopped. On the IOMETE platform, we have two tools, Data Catalog and Data Explorer. Both of them help you to look up and check the data objects like tables and columns. Data Catalog lets you use search, and it has handy filters like tags, so you can filter out the data with the PAI tags. Or you can type the column name directly, for example, salary column, and it will give you necessary information like list of tables with that specific column. Data Explorer is a step-by-step. You start at the catalog level, then you go into database and then table level. In each view, you can see the counts of objects, database, and table sizes, and the file counts inside S3. So, for example, in this specific case, this TPCDS catalog is almost 30 gigabyte. If I go, I can see the list of the databases, and then in each database, the list of the tables. If I open up the sample table customer, we can see the familiar view. In this specific view, you can define the owners, see some metrics, define the sensitive tags, add the documentation. You can even add a tag to a column level. These tags can be later on be used in a administration portal to define a security rules policy level. As you can see, I can specifically define the access restrictions based on a PII tag. Inside settings, you can invite team members into your domain, create access tokens, add Git integrations. But this will be covered in more details in a different session. I think that's it about the user space. This was a very short, high-level overview. So we will have dedicated, more detailed, in-depth details on each of these sections. Thank you so much.